Method acting can be a positive tool for many actors, but some take the term just a bit too far. Welcome to Beyond the Screen, I'm Nate, and today we're breaking down the top 10 actors who took their roles too seriously. At number 10, Tom Hanks. Tom is considered to be America's dad. He's been squeezing tears from our eyes and laughter from our lungs since breaking into the acting world as a leading man when he starred as Josh in the 1988 comedy classic Big. While he got his start in comedy, as Hanks grew, so did his abilities as an actor. He took on more serious roles as time went on, eventually leading him to play the FedEx man Chuck Noland in Castaway from the year 2000. He plays a man stuck on a deserted island in the middle of the ocean following a plane crash, left with nothing but his wit and the FedEx boxes that occasionally wash up on shore with some useful items. His character spends multiple years on the island, and to prepare for the role, Tom lost around 40 pounds of body fat to appear thin and malnourished, and on top of that, he refused to shower for months on end. Which was fine until he received a massive gash on his leg during filming that developed into a staph infection, essentially poisoning his blood with his own funk. While some method acting is needed for the role, we can all agree that if your methods land you in the hospital, maybe you should just rethink that strategy, you know? Number 9, Jamie Foxx. Jamie is one of the most talented men in Hollywood. He can sing, act, dance, and he writes. He does it all. Jamie's career has been filled with a few misses, but mainly hits, and the hits hit hard. Jamie has appeared in many big budget flicks over his career, such as Collateral alongside Tom Cruise, White House Down with Channing Tatum, and he even took a step in the more serious direction when he played musician Ray Charles in a biopic about his life called Ray. Jamie played the blind piano player for roughly 3 months of shooting. To better portray the character and to get into a proper mindset, Jamie had the production team glue his eyes shut while he was filming. This was a bit of an extreme reaction, and Jamie suffered dearly for it. He had to go to the hospital after some of the glue seeped through his eyelids and made contact with his eyeball. Ugh. Thankfully, he suffered no permanent damage from the role, but he did receive the Oscar for Best Actor that year, so I don't know, at least the pain and discomfort was well worth it. Number 8, Jim Carrey. The man known for being a rubber-faced manic wild card has actually stepped outside of the realm of comedy quite a few times. The star of films like The Mask and Ace Ventura hasn't always had his energy dialed up to 1,000,000. His first serious role as a leading man was as the titular Truman in the 1998 film The Truman Show. While there were some comedic aspects to the character, the majority of the film is spent with a confused man uncovering a plot that literally ends the world he's known for his entire life. It's a claustrophobia-inducing performance that you really have to check out if you haven't already. A year later, Carrey was casted to play the famous comedian Andy Kaufman in a biographical pic about his life called Man on the Moon. Andy was well known for being a troublemaker behind the scenes and is often remembered as a short-tempered bully. While Carrey portrayed Andy as such, a character that Andy used to play on talk shows called Tony Clifton was an even more despised character, being well known as a womanizer, a racist, and an obnoxious man just overall. When it came time to filming the Tony segments for the movie, Jim lost control. In the Netflix documentary Jim and Andy, Jim describes his experience in character as mentally draining. It left a mental scar on his psyche, seeing his fellow cast and crew filled with such hatred in their eyes aimed directly at Carrey is something that he's never going to forget. Number 7, Robert Pattinson. While Robert may have garnered popularity by playing Edward Cullen in the Twilight series, nowadays his popularity is due to his incredible acting chops. He's been in critically acclaimed films like Good Time, Tenet, and has even taken a turn as the Dark Knight of Gotham City, Batman. A little while back, he starred in a thriller period piece called The Lighthouse alongside American Psycho actor Willem Dafoe. In the film, Robert is a 19th century lighthouse keeper who quickly gets a taste for the liquid kerosene, which is regularly used to keep fires lit. Along for the ride is Dafoe playing his boss and an ex-sailor. The pair deliver a ruckus, dizzying, and at times just downright confusing performance that somehow makes the audience feel like they've been swigging back kerosene along with them. There were some graphic scenes in the film that Pattinson describes as being the most difficult things he's ever had to do. To keep in tone with the film, Pattinson opted to create any bodily fluid that was used in scenes himself. He recounts making himself physically vomit as opposed to faking it like most people do, and he also genuinely peed his pants for a scene and had to stay in that state for nearly a week of filming. On top of this, he would walk with rocks in his shoes and make himself dizzy before scenes to throw off his balance and increase the already considerable physical hardships that he was going through. This not only sounds like a nightmare for Robert, but for the crew that had to film that. Like, I just imagine a camera guy being like, Why is he pissing himself? Is he supposed to do that? Number 6, Nick Cage. It's hard to decide on just one time where this maniac went too far with his method acting. Nick has been screaming and shouting on the silver screen since he first appeared as H.I. McDonough, an ex-convict in the film Raising Arizona, and has gone on to have a career. While he may be a busy boy to the point of basically releasing a minimum of 4 new movies every year, those films have been met with mixed reception. Is he good? Is he bad? Who knows? What I do know is that he has done some extreme things both on screen in character and off screen to prepare for a role. In the film Vampire's Kiss, Cage's character believes that he is a vampire, and for one particular scene, the intention was for Cage to eat a large number of raw eggs. However, Nick wanted to do something a little more extreme. According to the director, Cage initially asked if he could eat a live bat for the scene, which may or may not have been inspired by the true Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne. Due to the fact that it's basically impossible to control a bat on set, Cage instead settled for a yummy little cockroach. He ate 3 full cockroaches all said and done, with little to no resistance from anybody. He's done a number of weird, wild things that could occupy their own list, so let us know in the comments if you want to see a top 10 reasons Nick Cage is insane. Number 5, Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf was a Disney star before making his way to the big screen, starring as the character Louis Stevens in the hit Disney sitcom The Even Stevens. He starred in quite a few big budget flicks before the mid-2010s, now opting for a more low-budget, high-concept type vibe, with movies like Peanut Butter Falcon and Honey Boy. This may be due in part to his choice to go way too method, just way too much. For the military epic Fury, set in 1945's Germany, Shia was cast to star alongside Hollywood heavyweights Michael Pena, Logan Lerman, Jon Bernthal, and Brad Pitt, all of whom have nothing but terrible things to say about their experience on set. The majority of the film takes place inside of the titular tank as the crew become trapped behind enemy lines. To prepare for the role, Shia decided to avoid bathing or shaving his face. This meant that for roughly 3 months, the cast were forced to inhale whatever concoction of BO and angst that Shia was expunging, with Brad Pitt claiming it was the worst thing that he's ever smelt in his entire life. Just thinking about it is making my nostrils sting. Number 4, Leonardo DiCaprio. Leo finally snagged his first Oscar win in 2015 for his role as the leading frontierman in the dramatic period piece The Revenant. In the film, Leo's character is separated from his fellow frontiermen and is attacked by a massive bear in the middle of the woods. He is left bloody and clinging to life, but somehow manages to stitch himself up in some of the most graphic scenes that you've ever witnessed. To prepare for this role, Leo decided to get a little method. He ventured out into the woods by himself and set up camp, where he ate raw bison, went for regular swims in frozen lakes, and oh yeah, instead of sleeping in a tent, he opted to sleep in an animal carcass. His method seemed to work in his favor, however, as not only did the film nab Leo the Oscar win, but it's now considered to be one of his most gruesome performances ever put to screen. Number 3, Christian Bale. Christian rose to mainstream popularity when he was casted to play the Dark Knight in Christopher Nolan's first Batman flick, Batman Returns. Before that, however, he had garnered quite the cult following, from starring in the film Empire of the Sun in his youth to dancing like a madman as Patrick Bateman in the film American Psycho. His list of roles is endless and impressive. What's not so impressive, however, though, is Christian's ability to rapidly gain and lose weight for film roles. For example, in American Psycho, Christian is in incredible shape with gym muscles and an 8-pack. But roughly a year later, he was seen over 60 pounds lighter, with no muscles, and looking like he was in desperate need of a sandwich. He went from just under 200 pounds to an astonishing 120. He would do this over and over, gaining weight and losing it constantly, claiming that the rapidness was due to the intense diets that would accompany the shoots he was on. Whether it's for a role or not, the constant shifting of body weight cannot be good for him. Just pick a lane and stick with it, Chris. Fat suits exist in Hollywood for a reason, man. Number 2, Jamie Dornan. Jamie is probably most famous for his portrayal of the on-screen depiction of the character Christian Grey in the film 50 Shades of Grey, based on the popular romantic thriller series. While you may think his appearance on this list is due to something he did to prepare for that role, there were no chains or whips involved in Jamie's method acting. Instead, it was a trench coat and the cover of darkness. To prepare for his role in the crime series The Fall, Jamie got into the mindset of his deranged character Paul Spector by literally stalking a woman and following her home home late at night. While this may have been a move to be more method, the incident left a woman shaken and afraid to walk home alone at night. I mean, come on, that would be like Al Pacino following you home. It's Al Pacino, it's still a man following you home though. His role on the series may have been well received, but some fans and critics simply just can't get over his truly terrifying methods. Number 1. Jared Leto. Jared Leto has been a problematic figure in the world of Hollywood throughout a majority of his career. After first gaining notoriety for portraying the character of Lane Dixon alongside Dennis Quaid and Danny Glover, Leto quickly began building up his acting repertoire with roles in iconic films like Mr. Nobody, Girl Interrupted, and even taking a turn as the clown prince of darkness, the Joker, in the 2016 film The End Yourself Squad, which landed him a spot on this list. Jared has always taken method acting to the extreme, losing and gaining weight rapidly over and over again and a myriad of other things, but it was this film in which he may have snapped. While playing the iconic Batman villain, Leto purposefully distanced himself from his fellow actors on set, and reports are that he sent his castmates a number of just disgusting gifts. He sent them used adult toys, and at one point during filming, Captain Boomerang actor Jai Courtney found a live snake in his trailer following a long shooting day. Now the snake wasn't venomous, but I think we can all agree that that's a big ol' nope. In recent years, he's claimed that any gifts sent to his castmates were sent with the intent of joy and excitement and was received as such. I don't know, exposing your fellow actors to your bodily fluids and actual snakes doesn't really sound very exciting. Those are the actors we know who took their roles too far. Who did we miss? Let us know in the comments below. If you stuck around to the end of this video, I just want to say, hey, thanks a lot. It means a lot to us here at the channel. Smash that like button if you enjoy our content and you want to see more. Thanks for stopping beyond the screen, and we'll see you next time.